son Rabba. My timer, lo shkichas kamed Rav Chizda mechadin shmaisa. How come you don't come when Rav Chizda gives shiur? They're very sharp shiur. Omer lei, he said, my eyes look gabe. Why should I go? Every time I go, he talks about like things that you should do in your daily life. I'm looking for big pilpul. He's telling me about how to live my life. For example, Omer li, manda ayla besakise lo lesiv badei. When you go to the bathroom, don't sit for too long. Below litrich, they don't push too hard. The haikar kashtat lashina yosef, because the rectal walls sit on these teeth. They're going to come loose. You're going to get hemorrhoids, and it's going to be a sakana. And that's all he's talking about. I want to learn big time Torah. He's telling you about how to live a healthy life, and you think it's just nothing. Even more important that you should go and listen to him. So you see the concept of health and science and medicine, it was very important, even more important, and sometimes than the Torah that was being taught. Hayulafon of tzor v'cheres. Person has a rock or a piece of clay. Rav Huna Omer mekanech b'tzor ve'en mekanech b'cheres. You should use the rock and not the cheres, because it's going to endanger you, it's going to cut you. He said the opposite. Because it's muktzah. A clay piece is usually something that you use on Shabbos, and a piece of stone is not. So Rav Chizda preferred you to use cheres. Based on your kasha, you have a choice between a rock and clay. You should use cheres because tzor is muktzah. You have to Rav Huna. So kasha and Rav Huna. Tirkema Rafam bar Puba ken Rav Chizda libid Rav Huna. He would answer for Rav Huna be'oignei kelim. We're talking about stones. I'm sorry. He's talking about a piece of cheres that's not dangerous because it comes from like the handles of the kli. So they're not that sharp. That's why it's not a stira regarding the, when we said before, mekanech b'tzor. Then, let's say you have a stone and grass. You should use a rock and not the grass. Some say you should use the grass instead, because they're moist. Well, they're moist, so you're concerned that they were going to cut the flesh. And others felt that because of tlisha, you're going to pull the grass up. So Rashi doesn't understand. There's nobody that would permit that. So he's saying that you would use grass that's still connected to the ground, so you wouldn't be over for tlisha. This is meitzveh amakanech b'davar or sholetus. If you clean yourself with something that can burn with fire, so that leads shina v'tachtones noshos, you get a hemorrhoid. So that depends. Lo kasha abalachin abiyavation. It means if it's dry, it will lead to hemorrhoid. If it's soft, if it's moist, they will not lead to hemorrhoids. Now, what if you need to go to the bathroom? You don't go to the bathroom. Let us go. You have a ruach ra. You have bad breath. Harold it says rechapeh. It says bad breath. If you don't go to the bathroom enough, the feces will rot inside, and the smell of it will come out in your mouth.
No way.
Is there any connection between constipation and
no?
Breath?
I mean, it's not even connected. It's supposed to go backwards up the whole alimentary canal. You ever see that happen?
No, that's what the Gemara says.
Okay. Harold, you should use it as a marketing ploy. You should start stuff for, for laxatives as well. You use breathalyzer and laxatives.
So Harold,
This is somebody who feels the urge to defecate but doesn't go. He doesn't respond to his urge. He holds it back. So the other mandomer says, Ruach zua mashur let us go. Kol gufo masriach b'zeh mas. His whole body stinks of bad odor. Sharech niva b'bsor ve'varav ba'avabol azeh mizuah mes. He says it causes bad body odor. Tanya deman kamunda omer ruach zua mashur. But there's a brisa that supports the shita that it leads to bad body odor. She'amru chachamim. I was just thinking for a minute. This is the schedule of the week. So Thursday, we'll have to learn in the morning. And maybe we'll try to do 2 blot. So we cover Thursday and Friday. And then Motzei Shabbos, we can learn the Shabbos' blot. Because it's Motzei Yom Tov. Okay? Does that sound reasonable? And if we can't do 2 blot Thursday morning, then we'll try to do 2 blot Shabbos evening to make up for the Friday that we couldn't learn. Something else. If somebody feels that they got to go to the bathroom, and then he sits down and eats a meal, this is like filling an oven that's still full of ash. That means here you have material that you have to pass, and you're already filling your stomach again. And that's how you start having body odor. That is a hutrachli part of panos. Let's say you have an urge to go, but you can't go because there's no bathroom around, and you hold it back, or you can't go. You're constipated. Stand up, sit down. Stand up, sit down. Stand up. Exercise. Exercise will help. Rav Chanan min Ardo Amar Yistalik Litztodi. It means you should go from corner to corner, go to a different place. Rav Chanan Amar Yimashmesh B'tzor Bosu Makom. He says, you manipulate your rectal opening with a stone. Rabbanan Amar Yasiach Daito. Means you should take your mind off of it. What do you mean, if he takes his mind off of it, he's going to make it worse. You should take your mind off of other things. And you should think about trying to have a bowel movement, then that'll help. I once saw an Arab, the Kambi Yosef at the Shavach Gedera. He stood up and he sat down so many times until he poured out like a teacup, like a pot, dumping food out. So that means it worked. He wants to give you a maisa that the advice that was given, he actually saw it work. A person who's about to sit down a big meal, he should try to stimulate a bowel movement before he sits down to eat. He should walk arba amos 10 times, or amila arba pamim sheleser amos, or go 4 times 10 amos. That'll stimulate the nifnet and go to the bathroom. Then you should go in to the meal. Cheres k'dei litin bo patzim l'chaveiro. How much cheres do you have to take out to be chayv on Shabbos? So they used to use pieces of pottery to stack up wood. In between the slats of wood, they'd have a piece of pottery there to separate. So that amount of cheres to separate between lumber and lumber, that's the shear, the Rabbi Yehuda. Rab Meir Amar K'nei Lachtos Bo Sa'ur. To carry out a lit fire, so you need a certain amount of clay. Rabbi Yossi Amar K'nei L'kabel Bo Revius. To put a revius of fluid on the cheres. On Rab Meir, Afal Pishein Ra'el Dover Zeichel Dover. I can bring you a pasuk to support my concept that the shear is for fire, because it says Lo Yimatzeh B'Michtovo Cheres Lachtos Eish Miyok. So it's a pasuk from Yeshaya that says specifically about carrying fire with a piece of cheres. On Rav Yosef Misham Ra'el V'Lachsof Maimin Negeveh. No, at the end of that pasuk, it says the shear is going to be how much water it carries. So that's a raya to me about carrying water. We asked a fine question. Shear Rab Meir Nafish, was the shear Rab Meir about carrying fire, is that bigger? Or shear Rab Yossi Nafish? Or is the shear about carrying a revius fluid bigger? It makes sense logically that the shear Rabbi Yossi is a bigger one. But umikra from a pasuk shear Rabbi Meir Nafish, because the Isaac shear Rabbi Yossi Nafish, how could Yeshayahu lie it Labaman Zutra? That he first said, the curse is going to be, you're going to end up only having a little thing left. And then later on, he's going to say, and by doing worse things, you're going to end up with a bigger thing. No. The first curse is you're going to end up with a small thing. And then if you keep on doing it, you're going to end up with an even smaller thing. So it must be that the shear Rabbi Yossi is bigger. On Rabbiya, our Mishnah also is Lachtos Eshmi Kida Gdola. It's also a bigger shear because we're not talking about a little fire. We're talking about that he carries a big fire. So Reb Meir, so it was a big shear. Rabbi Yossi Oimer also deflected the proof from the pasuk. Hisham Raya, because later on it talks about water. Shapir Kamalei Rabbi Yossi Rab Meir. He said, good to Rab Meir. Rab Meir says it's in the structure of Loma Boy Komer. Not only this, but this also. Loma Boy, not only this, meaning the Choshev Lenish to Loli Shtakachlei, that people are not going to forget this carrying fire. Like carrying a little bit of water. People, you might think would forget that. So it's not only this, but this also. New parak. Rabbi Kiva. Rabbi Kiva minayin lavod azar shemetabe b'masa kanita. From where do we know that if you carry an idol that was worshipped, that it's metame even though you don't touch it? For example, a sheretz, you have to touch a sheretz, you have to touch nevel, you have to touch a sheretz to become tameh. If you put a sheretz in a box and you carry the box, you're not tameh. But if you place dam nida in a box and you carry the box, it's metame b'masa. It's the same stringency when the Chachamim were goizer that Avodah Zarah has tumah. They said this. They made it the same status as nida. Shenemar tizrim k'modovat say tomarlo. Because that's a pasuk by Avodah Zarah, and it says isha dava. That's a pasuk regarding nida. Ma nida b'tama b'masa, Avodah Zarah b'tama b'masa. Rashi says, well, why is this parak starting off? So he says, Mishum deboile miskim badayu minayin shemarchitzas samila. We're going to ask the question: how do we know that you can wash the mila? Kailu la'anech the damila. So we're going to bring mishnayos that are similar to that mishnah. We'll have to wait and see that. Tanan hasam mishay basis samach lavod zara the nafal Let's say you had your house and one of your walls shared a wall with a base of a Zarah. Now there's a machlokas rishonim, whether we're talking about a house itself was worshipped or it was a place where idols were worshipped in the house. Either way, if you share a wall, asur livnoso. So if the wall fell, you can't participate in building up that wall because you'd be building a base of a Zarah. Okay, so Yaseh, so how do you do it? You got to measure 4 amas away from where that wall was and build your new wall on your property 4 amas away from there. Now, let's say the place where the wall was belonged equally to him and to the Avodah Zarah. Now, how could that be? Because initially, for example, it was owned by a Gentile, it was not Avodah Zarah. Then later on, it was converted to an Avodah Zarah. So the din is nid mechza mechza. You have to divide, let's say, if it's a, whatever shtickle it is, you own half, you own half. You got to move 4 amas from your half before you build a new wall. Then, avon of eitz of afarav, of that base of Avodah Zarah, the stones, the trees, the wood, the dirt, give tumah like a sheretz, which means you got to touch it. Shnemar shaketz to shaktzenu, which compares it to a sheretz. So a sheretz only conveys tumah by touch, not by masa. B'kivu emer kanida, shnemar tizrem k'modava. Ma nida metabe b'masa, even by carrying it, even if you don't touch the nidus, af of Avodah Zarah metabe b'masa. Amar Rabba Tizrem the Amar Kra Nachrinu Minach Kazar. It means you should separate the Avodah Zarah. You should make it like you don't know anything about it, like it's a stranger. And say Tomer Lo Yikanis al Tomer Lo. Don't ever invite him in. You have to tell him go out. Amar Rabba B'Masa the Kulam Lo Plikin the Mitama. There's really no machlokas regarding the fact that items of Avodah Zarah will be metame b'masa. Da iskish l'nida. Ki pligi be'evan mesama. This is a din of evan mesama. Rashi, evan sheshamu al gabi yatedos. You have a big stone or boulder that was elevated off the ground by stakes. The kelim tachteha. And there are very vessels underneath the stone. So in Daniel it says Vihitit Evan Chada V'Samta Pumguva V'Nida Ozav Yoshvale, and there's a nida or a zav sitting on top of the stone. Afal Pishloch Bidola Kalim. He's not resting on the kalim, the zav. And the stones are also not resting on the kalim. It's sort of dwelling in the shadow of the Evan. Tmeim HaKelim. The Kelim are Tomei from the din of Evan Mesam. So that's the machlokas between Rabbi Kiva and his Bar Plukt in the Mishnah. That the Tanakh, or the Bryce we just quoted, the Tanakh says it's Matame Kesheretz. Rabbi Kiva says like a nida. So Rabban explained that Machloka says, nah, they all agree that it's Tamez B'masa. The argument is does it extend to the special stringency of Evan Mesame. Rabbi Kiva Sover Kanida Manida Metabe Be'evan Mesame. If you place an idol or a piece of an idol on top of the stone, Metabe Be'evan Mesame, Metabe the Kelim underneath it, Rabbanon Sover Kasheretz. No. Ma Sheretz Lo Metabe Be'evan Mesame. You put a dead Sheretz on top of the stone, nothing's going to happen to the kelim underneath. Rabbi Kiva, well, Rabbi Kiva can't deny the fact that the pasuk says shaketz teshaktzenu. Why would the Torah go to the trouble of writing that if Rabbi Kiva is using the pasuk from Yeshaya to teach me that it's related to a nida? So our answer is limisham sheh. The kalim that are used to worship the avodah zarah, not the avodah zarah itself, but the various kalim used to worship it, those are not mitame b'masa or be'evan misame. They're only mitame like a sheretz b'maga. So then we have to ask the question to the Chachamim as well. In Yeshaya, it's compared to a nida. Why? If according to Chachamim, the din of the idol is only as a din of a sheretz, why on earth did the Ksuvim, the Navi in Yeshaya compare it to a nida? To tell me lamasa, but not Evan Mesame, because normally a sheretz is not Metame b'masa. The Chachamim agree that there's Tumas Masa, but not Tumas Evan Mesame. Now the Gemara asks a really good kasha. The Luksha Rachmana Nevela. Now, Nevela is Metame bin with touch, and it's Metame b'masa. It's not Metame b'Evan Mesame. So the Gemara is now asking the obvious question. Why didn't the Chachamim compare it? If the Chachamim agree that it's Metame, that the idol is Metame b'masa, the Torah should have just used Nevela. Why? Your marbe it was shekets, and then you have shekets and nida. You got to compromise. Just compare it to Nevela. Versus Ena Chanami, that's a good question. So Ella ma nida enele evorim. The limbs of a nida, if God forbid she had an amputation while she was alive, it's metame b'masa and it's metame b'oel because that's the din of the Eiver min Achai, but not because of Torah's Eiver min Anida. The nafkamina there was it's the lo metame b'evan mesame, and so therefore to teach me that just like the limbs of a nida woman are not metame b'evan mesame, af avodah zarah ein alei vorim. If you cut off the limbs of a pesel or piece of it, also there will not be a tumas evan mesame. So the Gemara says if that's correct, why then elahadabar of Chama bar Gurya avodah zarah yesh alei vorim ein alei vorim? There is another Gemara where Rav Chama asks a big kasha. Well, when you cut up an idol into pieces, does it have a din of tumah or not? Well, if it's so pasha, tifshet le'mehad rabbanan ein vorim. He could have bring in a proof from here that there is no din of tumah ein vorim. Rav Chama bar Goya libed Rabbi Kiva boy. He wants to know, according to Rabbi Kiva, where there is tumas evan mesame. He wants to know if you cut an arm off an idol, will it have tumas mesame as well? The Rambam holds chelik chatuch mavodah zarah ein metame. If you cut a piece of off an idol, it's not metame. Shein avodah zarah metame ela kashi shlema. It's only metame when it's whole. They pass like the chachamim lahakel. And because this kind of tumah is medivrei sofrim, it's midrabanan, and in general, midrabanan we go look sofik, midrabanan we go look kuma. So Rabbah was the way we just explained the Baraisa, this Rabbi Kiva Baraisa with the Chachamim, is the way Rabbah explained it. The Rabbah Lazar Amar, a different explanation. Everybody holds that an idol will not be metame be'evan mesame. Ki pligi b'masa. The machlokas is even more lenient. There are those that are going to hold it's not even metame b'kerim. Rabbi Kiva sover kanida manida metame b'masa v'avodah zarah metame b'masa. You don't have to touch the need itself. If you just put it in a box and you carry the box, it's metame. Rabbanan sabri kasheretz. Ma'asheretz lo metame b'masa v'avodah zarah lo metame b'masa. It's like a sheretz, and therefore there's no tumas masa. If it doesn't have a din of a sheretz, because you're saying it's like a nida because there's tumas masa. Why did the Torah compare it to sheretz? The din Islam is mashmel to tell me that the various implements that worship the avodah zarah, not the avodah zarah mamish, that only has a din of tuma through touch, not through masa, and that's learned out from sheket to shaktim. And the other side of the coin, Rabbanon Mayachal says Kishlanida. If the Rabbanon are learning that the din of Tumah by an idol is only Tumah Sheretz, then why Bichlal was it compared to a Nida? Oh, to teach me this din. Ma Nida in Elevon, Ma Forazar in Elevon. Just like if a Nida underwent an amputation, the limb would not be Metame Be'evna Misame, Forazar in Elevon. Okay.